All right. So I've got this SKAR RP4500.1D hooked up on the test bench again. I've got 160 amp hour of skibs, and I've got the Taramps 100 amp smart charger hooked up. .5 volts, just for reference. So we're not doing a amp dyno per se. Just really going to do another comparison test using the basehead garage watt meter version 2 versus the SPL LAB. This is the Next LCD with the power probe kit, and then the Termlab Magnum. Okay, so the Termlab clamp is at the 10 millivolts setting. The SPL LAB is at the 1 millivolt setting, as they should be. And right here's the Hall sensor for the basehead garage watt meter version 2. Now, here's what we're going to do today. So I did this test on the Smart 8 and the Smart 8, the Smart Technology. You know, once it got up to the Smart Tech side of things, of the power spectrum, the different devices, you know, they read a little bit differently. So I decided to go ahead and throw this. This is a Chinese board amplifier. I've had nothing but great outcome with this RP4500.1D. It produces a lot of power, clean power, doesn't get hot, just a very reliable amplifier at a very good price point. So that's why I chose this one. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to list the wattage on each click of the volume. We're going to start at volume 30, which is going to be roughly 50, 60, 70 watts, something like that. And then we're going to go all the way down, or all the way up to volume 50. Now 48, I've already done some preliminary testing. Volume 48 is the maximum clean volume on this particular setup. 49 is going to be 1 click into clipping. Volume 50 is going to be 2 clicks into clipping. So that being said, I mean, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to write down the results for the basehead garage watt meter, the SPL LAB, and the Termlab, and then we're going. I'm going to show you at the end the results, and you can screenshot it or whatever, so you can see if these how accurate and consistent these devices are amongst one another. Now, I have tested these devices individually against my voltmeters and clamp, and I got 2 of these, one for voltage, one for amperage, and they are pretty daggone accurate. These devices are pretty accurate with those clamp and voltmeters. So I'm not going to introduce those into this test because it's just a hassle. Adding the more devices that you have on the screen, the more hassle it is. So I've already tested them against those clamps and voltmeters. There's no need in doing it again and again and again. So we're going to test these 3, because the Termlab has been the staple throughout the last, I don't know, decade or so. SPL LAB has a really good product here. I've tested it and I am pleased with the results. And it is very, pretty daggone accurate and consistent. And the basehead garage watt meter by far is the most cost-effective unit. It is the smallest unit, you know, because it's made to go into your vehicle and, you know, to be permanently mounted. That way you can monitor the voltage, amperage, and wattage coming out of your amplifiers in your vehicle. So, you know, let's just break it down. The base head garage watt meter is roughly $100. This setup with the SPL LAB Next LCD with the power probe kit is, you know, about $450. The Termlab with the laptop and the clamp kit and everything, it's roughly about $1,600. So that, all that being said, let's just get to it. Okay, let's just get to it. Now, hopefully you'll be able to see everything in the screen. All right, we are going to be playing the DD1 track, the 40 hertz track. Uh, 0 dB 40 hertz from the DD1 CD. And we're going to start off on volume 30, and I accidentally hit it. So let's just reset everything. This is what's going to take the most time, is resetting everything. All right, so the first little bit, the oscilloscope screen, it's not really, you're not going to be able to see much of anything on it because it's going to be at such a low power level. But as we get up into the power spectrum, you will be able to see it. So just keep that in mind as well. So volume 30 right here. All right, and we're at about 14.5 volts, as you already seen. So base head garage watt meter, 65 watts. SPL LABs, 62 watts. Termlab, 61 watts. And actually, I'm not going to need to reset everything because I'm just going to go up one click at a time. So volume 31. All right. Base head garage watt meter, 83 watts. SPL LAB is 77 watts. Termlab is 77 watts. One more click up, volume 32. As you can see, it's clean on the screen on the oscilloscope. If you could see it, you know, it's still kind of small on the screen. So base head garage watt meter, 104 watts. SPL LAB, 95 watts. Termlab, 97 watts. Volume 33. We have 130 watts. 123 watts, and then 123 watts on the Termlab. Volume 34. 164 watts on the base head garage watt meter, 155 on the SPL LABs, and 155 on the Termlab. Volume 35. 207 on the watt meter, 196 on the SPL LABs, and 197 on the Termlab. Volume 36. 257 on the watt meter. We've got 246 on the SPL LAB and 246 on the Termlab. volume 37, 326 on the watt meter, 310 on the SPL LAB, 311 on the Termlab. And I will add too, I did calibrate personally. I calibrated the clamp for the Termlab with my 1 ohm resistor bank. Ohm's law dictates that at 1 ohm, the amperage and the voltage will be the same at a 1 ohm load. So I did calibrate the clamp myself on the Termlab, so it is pretty daggone accurate. I just wanted to point that out. So volume 38. So 408 watts on the watt meter, 394 on the SPL LAB, and 394 on the Termlab. Oh, I hit the camera. All right, volume 39, 514 on the watt meter, 494 on the SPL LAB, and 498 on the Termlab. Volume 40. As you can see on the screen on the oscilloscope, it was nice and rounded, clean still yet. So we have 650 on the watt meter. We have 623 on the SPL LAB, and we have 631 on the Termlab. Volume 41, 817. That's the fan kicking on the Termlab smart charger. We have 817 on the base head garage watt meter. We have 794 on the SPL LAB and 799 on the Termlab. Volume 42, 1018 on the watt meter, 1001 on the SPL LAB, 1011 on the Termlab. Volume 43. All right, well, we got something going on with the Termlab. Let's hit OK, hit reset. Who knows what that was about. Termlab does have glitches, and it's a pain in the butt, but volume 43, volume 43. So 1291 on the watt meter, 1260 on the SPL LAB, and then 1277 on the Termlab. Volume 44, 1622 on the watt meter, 1594 on the SPL LAB, and then 1609 on the Termlab. Volume 45. All right, so 2045 on the watt meter, 2014 on the SPL LAB, and then 2029 on the Termlab. I don't know if you can see the numbers on the all of the screens. Of course, the Termlab's got the biggest numbers. I do like that part. But once I get into amp dyno testing, I'm probably going to go with SPL LAB, and then I'll be able to zoom in and you'll be able to see the numbers more clearly on the screen. But all in all, this basic garage watt meter for $100 is not a bad deal whatsoever. All right, volume 46. Now, watch the waveform on the oscilloscope screen. Volume 46. All right, clean on the screen. 2569. That's 2569 on the watt meter. 2533 on the SPL LAB, and then 2565 on the Termlab. Volume 47. Clean on the screen. 3253 on the watt meter. 3180 on the SPL LAB. And then 3241 on the Termlab. Now, this is volume 48. This is going to be your maximum clean volume for this setup right here. The way that the gains are set on the amplifier and the way everything is set up, the battery, the voltage, everything. This is going to be your maximum clean volume on this setup. So volume 48, and this is 40 hertz, same track. Clean on the screen. 4,090 watts on the watt meter. 4,070 watts on the SPL LAB. 4105 on the Termlab. All right, that is at a 1 ohm load. And it's a 1 ohm static load. The impedance on the watt meter is showing 1.0 ohm. The impedance on the SPL LAB is showing 1.2 ohm. The impedance on the Termlab is showing 0.962. So, I mean, there is a fluctuation there, differential, but it is a 1 ohm load. And then you have to add a little bit of impedance for the speaker wire and all the connections and everything. So, but it is a 1 ohm static load. So, volume 49, this is 1 click into clipping. So watch the screen. It is just barely into clipping. Volume 49, 40 hertz. Barely into clipping. 4947 on the watt meter. 4897 on the SPL LAB, and then 4994 on the Termlab. And that is just barely into clipping, just 1 click into clipping. So now we're going to go 1 more click, volume 50. That is 2 clicks into clipping. It's kind of hard clipping. Very much okay to do this on a burp. If you're competing in the lanes and you want to get a little bit more SPL out of your system, it is more than okay to run this much clipping into your speakers for a burp. Not on music, just a burp. So just keep that in mind. When you're running music, you want to keep it clean. All right. But on a burp for competition purposes, this click right here, it is important. All right. So volume 50, volume 50. Let's see what it's got. All right. 5,412 on the watt meter. 5,336 on the SPL LAB, and then 5,468 on the Termlab. Okay. And that was, you know, pretty decently into clipping. We might could go one more click into clipping, but I'm more than satisfied with these results at 14.5 volts. And we're getting 1,000 watts more than the amplifier's rated for. I'm more than happy with this cheap SKAR 4500, the RP4500. It's a $500 amp, and you're getting over 5,000 watts. So now let's look at the total results over here. So now you can pause it, screenshot it, share it, whatever you want to do. All three of these devices are well within a tolerance. You know, right offhand, I mean, they're within less than 5% tolerance of each other. I mean, look at maximum. You know, you got 40, you know, 5,400, 5,300, 5,400, or 50, you know, call it 5,500. So, you know, you're within right there. You're within 100 watts of each other at the 5,000 watt level. I mean, if that's not satisfactory, I don't know what is. You know, we're not going to have exact measurements every single time. So let's break this down. This column is a $100 device. This column in the middle, that is a $450 device. And this column here with, you know, including the laptop and everything, it's about $1,600. You know, if you just consider just the Termlab is $700 or $800, and then the clamp, you got to add the clamp, and then you got to add the sensor, because you have to have the mic sensor in order to clamp power with the Termlab, and then you have to have a computer to run it. So, I mean, yeah, you run $1,500, $1,600.